All right. Today I want to get through this for you guys so we can get you in and out. Today we're going to focus on notifications. But before we start, just a shout out to Kaylin Crawford for winning the drawing today. And remember that if you need to follow along and prefer to read instead of listen, then you can use the closed captioning button down at the bottom of the screen there, and that'll get you all set up for accessibility purposes if those are required. Let me share my screen. I figured out why I was having so many problems with screen sharing yesterday. I was trying to upload files to Google Drive on a separate system that was just slowing things down. So hopefully today we'll have a better screen sharing opportunity. So can everyone see my screen all right?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to begin today by talking about notifications. Now, some of you who have been using Slack are probably used to the ding, zing, ding, ding, zing, zing. You're hearing all these things going off. And if you're in as many channels as I am, you're probably hearing that nonstop all day. And so today I want to highlight how you can pause some of those notifications and make your channels that are essential have the right ones, and the ones that you don't need be a little quieter. So there's several different tips that we're going to pull out today. And another thing I want to highlight real quick before we begin is when you jumped into Slack, if you did not have a channel for yourself, I want to encourage you to start a new message and add yourself. So like right here, demo student wasn't, when I created this account for demo student and came in, I noticed they didn't have an account. So you can actually create a message to yourself. So I'm going to type in here, demo student, there it is, you. And now I have a space where I can actually come in and send messages to myself. I can practice things like the community exclamation point, community thing, which will pull up all the community channels. You can prepare a video or an audio message here and not feel like you have to post it somewhere else, and then you can share it into another channel. So this doing a message to yourself is a great place to practice before you commit and jump in. So using that channel, you can do a lot of things to, some of the tips that we've been highlighting here. Now, notifications don't happen on your own channel because you're never notified about things you send to yourself. That's a good thing. I mean, who needs extra notifications? But today I want to show you real quick. I'm going to jump into this EL demo test. And the first thing that I want to highlight today is the ability to mute a channel. You can actually, if you do not want to receive any notifications at all from a particular channel, but you still want to be a part of it and be able to go in and check it out, you can right click on a channel name and choose this option, mute channel. Now, I already did this earlier today, so you're not going to see a message, but it usually gives you a message that says you will be notified if anyone uses @channel or directly mentions you within this thing. So I'm going to jump from there over here to my project channel here that I created, and you'll see that the muted channel is now faded and distant in the background. And in my other account here, I'm going to jump into that channel. And I'm going to actually send a message to demo student. And you'll notice over here that I don't have any notification. Nothing pops up. There's no warning, no announcement that anything was there. And so that channel is in effect dead and is no longer visible to me. But if I added @demo student, it does not, I don't get a notification. Demo student isn't notified, but what happens now is you get a little badge. So if you mute a channel, you can be notified still, in essence, on your sidebar. You'll see that. Now you'll notice it doesn't like say, hey, you have a new message or anything like that. It's not dark, but you get that little one signaling that someone has messaged you. Another thing that, and here's another side tip, if you do @channel, there's a couple different commands you can do. @channel or @here will notify everybody in that channel. @here does everybody who's active in Slack at that moment. It'll ping them. And @channel just pings everybody. So if they're not active in Slack, they'll get that email notification say, hey, somebody has messaged you. So I'm going to do @channel and hello. and you'll notice the same thing here. Oh, I'm in the channel. Well, that didn't work. So let me get out of the channel again. And then let me try that one more time. At channel, hello. And now if I'm over here, you'll see that red ping mark. So at channel or direct mentions will still notify you and will trigger that little red mark. So that's muting a channel. There's actually safer ways to do this. Oops, sorry. I need to go to my other account, but I'm going to unmute this channel for the sake of this right now. And if you come over here to, and you see that if I unmuted the channel, suddenly it turns bold, and then you still have that red mark. So now over on this side, I'm going to do some things with notifications on my end for this channel here. I'm going to change my notifications. So beyond muting the channel, which just completely silences it, and I'd recommend to use muting sparingly. So if there's something you really want to be a part of, that's one way to do it. But there's another way to do it by setting the notifications on the channel itself. So this is my account here. I'm going to change the notifications for this channel, which is set right now to all new messages. And I'm going to change this to mentions. Sorry. So you have three options. You have mentions, not at all. And what mentions will do is it will only give me a pop-up if somebody uses at channel or at here or and a mention to me directly. So what this will do is I won't be getting all of the pings. It'll still show up bold, but the pings will only come if I'm being mentioned directly, or if I turn off include at channel and at here, it will only be direct mentions. So this gives you a little more finite control, but I can also set this to nothing. And this is actually cool because what it does is it still highlights the channel that there's been activity in there. So like for some of our LAPU community channels where there's been a lot of discussion around whether the Celtics or Miami are going to win, and we all know the Celtics will probably pull it off. Just kidding, Kevin. But in that channel, you'll see that you can set this right here, so you don't have to be pinging or getting those notifications for every single one. I'm going to save the changes, and now I'm going to move away from this here, and I'm going to click back over here, and I'm going to say hello there, and I'm going to respond. And so, but over here, I didn't get a pop-up on my other screen here. I got no pop-ups, I got no dings, no notifications, but I have a really clear indicator that someone's said something. And if I go to all unreads, it's going to show up in that channel there. You can see I can still see that hello demo student. It's there. So that keeps the channel itself gets muted from sending them notifications, but you still have very clear visual references to there being communication that you can respond to. So that's a great way to go in there. The channel will still go bold, and you have those options to include those at mentions, which I think is really helpful when there's important announcements or somebody's speaking to you directly. And I want to encourage everyone to use those. If you're in a channel with multiple people and you're asking somebody a particular question, always use an at mention, because you don't know if their notifications are muted or not. And you want to be able to hit them up with that pop-up to say, hey, I need you to respond to this. So, and then the third thing that you can do, maybe you're focusing in on a project and you don't want to hear anything, but you don't want to mute everything or mute each individual channel. You can actually pause your notifications by coming up here into the upper right, clicking on your username, and there's this pause notifications option here. You can set it for, they have some default times of 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, or until tomorrow. So if you've got something big you're working on and you just need to focus in, you can do that. You can also set a custom amount of time. And then, or you can set a whole, and you can also set a notification schedule, which I'll show you in just a minute. Chelsea, you had a question. Can you ask me that verbally? Because I missed the chat.
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me. I'm having some internet problems right now.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that we would need to add them to make sure to to do the mention. Is that only in a channel, or if you're like just a message between you and I and the direct message?
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a good
you have
question.
to do the same.
Great question. No, in a direct message that's between one or two individuals, you don't need to do that. And I haven't tested that in like a three-way conversation. That's a direct message between three people, because you can do channels or direct messages. I'm pretty sure a direct message between three people would still pop that up. But I know one-on-one for sure it would. You don't need to mention them because you're already there in the channel direct messaging, and those by default do still bring through those notifications. If they're muted or if they've paused their notifications, it probably still wouldn't. I haven't actually tested that. That might be something to look into and add to our training. But pausing your notifications will set that to keep them from coming site-wide, which can be helpful in many instances, and in training. So yeah, so those are some simple ways to keep things, setting a schedule. What I want to do too is show you that you can do that per channel, but you can also do that in your preferences. So I'm going to encourage you to click up here on the main channel drop down here and click preferences. And you'll see here there is a notification section where you can actually set the defaults for every channel and new channels as they're created. You can set all new messages, direct messages, mentions, and keywords, or nothing. And then you can also set different settings for your mobile device. I know some of you are brave and are using Slack on your cell phones, some individually with or without the app or the browser, but you can actually set different notifications for your devices. So you're not getting notifications in several places, or if you still want to get them on your phone and on your computer, you can do that up and set those up differently. And there's options for notifying when a huddle is starting, when replies, notify me about replies to threads I'm following. So if you reply in thread to a message, you are following, quote unquote, that message. And so future notifications that come in on that thread, you'll get notified about, but you can turn that off by clicking that button off. And then if you've set up individual rules for any channels, you can see that in your notifications, and it'll actually show you what channels those are down here at the bottom. So you can see I've got specific notifications for the Foodies channel, the demo test channel, and Google Drive, which is an app, which we will be talking about tomorrow in day 5. So you can also set some other things like keywords. So if you like, we're having lots of discussion around the NBA right now, so I could put my favorite NBA teams in here, and if any of those keywords came up, I would get that little badge notification knowing, hey, there's something important in here for you. These are the things I'm following. Or if you want to follow a community channel and you want to be notified whenever the word strengths comes out, it can do that as well. And in some cases, if we had a broader instance of Slack, which someday we might go to, and we have students in separate workspaces that you might be a part of, then you could even be part of those conversations, because it would flag you and notify you there. But this is the other thing here. You can set your basic notification schedule. This can be really helpful, especially if you're using it on your mobile device. You can set your notifications to come in every day on weekdays or on a custom schedule, and you can set the hours starting to finishing. And you can also set your default time for reminder notifications, which is something else we're going to cover in the future. Some of the keywords for creating or some of the apps where you're doing things like starting a reminder, you can set reminders and it'll give you a default time here. There's things that you can adjust the sound and the appearance, what it sounds like when it pops up, and what to do when you're not active on the desktop, when the notifications should come in, and just a lot of nifty little notifications preferences there. So that's today. In just a moment, I'm going to post the challenge in our 10 days of Slack training channel. If you have any questions, please shoot them out now and let's talk about them. Otherwise, you guys are free to go. Thank you.
Hey, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
When the other day I muted a channel, but the thread still kept coming through. Do you have to mute that thread that you're on as well?
So you muted the channel, but the threads inside kept pinging you?
I kept getting notifications.
And you had been replying to him. So, okay, that's an interesting one. Let's, I'll just take a minute and test that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and mute this channel, but I'm going to reply in thread to demo student here.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to reply in here as well. see. I'm not getting them.
I wonder if I
Again-
muted it after the thread had. I was trying to figure out why it wouldn't have muted it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So I had to go mute the thread.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So
Yeah.
if there's a change in that time, so let me unmute the channel, and oh, you know what? It might be because the settings, the notifications is set to no notifications. So let me do. So I'm going to set it back to all new messages, okay? And then I'm going to mute it again. Actually, I'll send one first. Actually, let me reply here. Reply in the thread. Hello. There we go. Test. I'm going to come back over here. I'll mute this now. But my settings for the notifications should stay. Oh no! See, so it sets the whole thing to muted. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, that it was really strange. Okay.
Could be a freak accident. I'm not getting any of those right now.
Okay.
Let me see if I unmute it. If I get them, it might be because I'm on 2 different Slack instances at the same time. So let me unmute the channel and see if I'm getting any of these. Yeah, I'm not. So I'm not sure. But if you needed to mute the notifications, you can. How did you do that yesterday?
I have to go back and look. There were the 3 dots in the thread. I have to remember what group it was because I was in a meeting, but there were so many responses to
Oh, yeah. Okay. So up here at the top of your thread,
yeah.
you can turn off notifications for replies. Okay. Interesting. That's crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Well, bless you guys. Have a great day. And I'll get that posted in just a minute in the 10 days of training channel. Thank you.
Thank you.